Welcome to this edition of Monroe County Library System's Desserts with David. We are here again in the kitchen of the South Rockwood Community Room. Today we are going to make a layered turtle cheesecake. To start off, we have a 9-inch spring-form pan that I've already greased and prepared. We're going to wrap it in 2 layers of tin foil. And get that ready for us. So get that ready, set that aside. Now we're going to start with the crust. To start with the crust, we need a 1/4 cup of finely chopped pecans. So I'm going to use it, chop them in the food processor here. Just turn that on. And then we're going to add to this a cup of flour and a 1/4 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. So let's add that. We got our flour here. And normally, once you get the pecans chopped up, you put it in a bowl and add the brown sugar in the bowl and then the butter, and then you use this little device to put it together. But since I'm already using the food processor, I'm going to cheat and use the food processor. Then we're going to add the brown sugar. And while that's mixing up, I'm going to go grab the butter out of the refrigerator. And we need 6 tablespoons of the butter. And then we're going to cube the butter and throw it in here. One thing with this, you do have to stop it once in a while because the flour kind of settles to the bottom. So mix it up a little bit so it all gets in there really good. So I'm going to get the butter open here, and then we'll cube it and we'll throw it in there. You can do little cubes, big cubes. I'm going to do big cubes. We're just trying to get it nice and mixed so we can put it together and make a crust. So just drop those in there. And we'll let that blend up a little bit. Again, we'll have to stop it because the flour is settling to the bottom a little bit. So we'll mix up some of the flour here. The colder the butter is, the better it will make it, so you might be kind of crumbly to put into the pan. Okay, a few more minutes here. Take this off. Going to, there's still a little bit of butter or flour in the bottom there. Just get it all mixed together, make it nice and crumbly. And we're just going to put it in here. And then we're just going to press this into the bottom of the pan. We have the oven preheated to 325. So we're going to cook this for 13 to 15 minutes until it gets nice and set. So just get it nice pressed in there, nice and evenly around. And we'll throw it in the oven and we'll let it cook, and we'll let that cook, And while that's cooking, it's going to cook for, like I said, 12 to 15 minutes. Then we'll take it out of the oven and we'll let it cool. And while it's cooling, we'll get making the cheesecake mix. Okay, our crust is all cooked. We got it cooling here. While it's cooling, we're going to start on the cheesecake itself. To get started, I need to melt some milk chocolate. I have half a cup of milk chocolate here that I'm going to melt in the microwave. Do it in like 30-minute increments and stir it because this is at the cool before we add the cheesecake to it. So I'm going to go do that real quick. And while that's melting, let me tell you what we got. We have 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese softened. We're going to put that in the thing. Then we're going to put a cup of regular sugar and 1/3 a cup of packed brown sugar. And then we're going to mix that up until it's nice and smooth. Let me go check on the chocolate real quick. Okay, it needs a few more seconds here. So we'll get that going. I'm going to throw the cream cheese in and we'll get started on this. So like I said, I got 4 blocks of softened 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. Use whatever brand you like. I'm going to do that. We have a cup of regular sugar and 1/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar. Put that in there. We'll get this mixing. I'm going to go grab our chocolate. So I'm just going to stir it so it's nice and smooth. And then we're going to set it aside and let it cool off a little bit, because for our layered cheesecake we have to have a layer of chocolate cheesecake, so that's what this is for. And we don't want it to cook the cheesecake while we're doing it. Before we put it in the oven, I should say. So we're going to set that aside and let that cool. You want to, every once in a while, scrape down the side, get all the sugars mixed in to the cream cheese there. Once that's all nice and smooth, we're going to add 1/4 a cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. Get this out of the way. Okay, so let's add our 1/4 a cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. Start that slow so your flour doesn't fly up out at you, or your whipping cream like that just did. We're going to beat that until it gets nice and smooth. Once again, stopping it every once in a while and scrape down the sides. Scrape the bottom of the bowl, get it all mixed together nicely here. And then to this, we're going to add 4 eggs that have been slightly beaten. And we're just going to mix those in slowly until it gets blended. You don't want to overmix the eggs. Let me scrape it down a little bit here. All right, So we're going to add our 4 slightly beaten eggs and just beat that slow until they mix, until they get incorporated into the mixture. And then once that's done, we have our chocolate. We're going to add a cup of the batter to the chocolate to make our chocolate layer. So that looks pretty good. So just take a cup of the batter. Doesn't have to be exactly a cup, just and just mix it in there. This will be our chocolate layer of the layered cheesecake. So then just mix it. Get nice and mixed there. And then we are going to take our crust that's cooled off. We're going to put this layer on. Spread it out. Cover the whole crust. That's what it looks like. So once you got that done, the next layer we're going to put on are some pecans that are mixed with some pecans. Got a 1/4 cup of pecans, I believe. Let me double check on that. It's 1/4 cup of pecans, and then a teaspoon of flour, and then we're going to mix a 1/4 cup of caramel ice cream topping on there. And just mix that up until it's all covered. Actually, it's 1/3 cup of pecans, I believe. Sorry. And then you just take this by a spoonful and just drop it on your, all over the bottom of the, on top of the chocolate layer there. I'll show you what it looks like in a second here. So then you have the dot on top of there. And then we're just going to put the rest of the cream cheesecake on there. And we're going to throw it in the oven, a 325-degree oven, for an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. You want to cook it till the center is just set and the top of it looks kind of dullish. And we are going to put it, forgot to mention when I did it, the reason we wrapped this in tin foil because we're going to put it in a water bath in the oven, and that helps keep the water out of the thing. And the reason you do a water bath, it helps the cheesecake cook a little slower and evener. It keeps it from cracking. So then we just pour this on top. Once we put it in this shallowly roasting pan, here I have, you put about 1 inch of hot water around it, and then we'll throw it again in a 325-degree oven for an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. Just kind of look at it and see. The center will be just set. It might just be a little bit jiggly, but you don't want it moving too much. And we just do that. So we're going to put it in the pan. Then we're going to pour, I have a little water in here already. We're going to pour the rest of the water in. Got about an inch of water in there. I'm going to put it in 325. Get it open. I'm going to start it with 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then we'll check on it. If it needs longer, then we can do it a little bit longer. Whoops. There we go. So while that's cooking, I'm going to clean up. And then we were going to make a chocolate ganache that goes over the top and decorate the cheesecake. All right, we're going to make the ganache for on top of the cheesecake now. So you want to heat the heavy whipping cream. I'm using 1/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. So we're going to heat it to just to a boil. You don't want it boiling. You just want it hot enough that it's going to melt the chocolate. So we'll turn that off. Then we're going to come over here. I'm just going to pour it over top of our chocolate. And we'll just mix this until it gets, or whisk it until it gets nice and smooth. And then once this is smooth, we're going to let it cool off for a few minutes, and we'll grab the cheesecake. Once the cheesecake is done, you take it out of the water bath, let it cool for about 10 minutes, run a knife around the edge, and then you're going to stick it in the refrigerator and let it chill for at least an hour or so. It's going to be overnight too, before you put the ganache on. So we'll get this all nice and mixed up. Then just let it cool off a little bit, and while it's cooling, you stir it occasionally to keep it going. And then we're going to pour it over, we'll get the cheesecake out of the refrigerator, and then we'll pour the ganache over top, and we'll decorate it. You can decorate it, sprinkle some chopped pecans on top. Then after we do that, we're going to set it in the refrigerator to let the ganache chill a little bit. And right before serving, you can take the caramel topping and drizzle some over the top if you'd like to, and then you serve it. So let me get this all mixed up. We'll let this chill for a few minutes, and I'll go grab the cheesecake and we'll get decorating. Okay, now that we have the ganache is a little chilled, a little set, we're going to pour it over the cheesecake. You can see some of the layers. You got the crust, the chocolate, and then the, okay, so we're just going to pour this over top. And it's going to spread it out and let it drip down the sides a little bit. And then we're going to sprinkle some pecans on top, and then we'll throw it in the refrigerator and let it set till we're ready to serve it, and then we will put the caramel on. So just take some chopped pecans, sprinkle them over the top. All right, I'm going to throw this back in the refrigerator for a few minutes. Then we'll put some caramel on it, and we'll cut it, and we'll see how it looks and how it tastes. Okay, now that the ganache is chilled a little bit, we're going to put a last little decoration on it. You can drizzle it on. You don't have to put the caramel on top if you don't want to. Just put it on there. And we're going to take a cut, see how it turned out here. Oops, didn't cut it very well. And you got our, want to get all our good stuff out of there. So there, you can see the layers in there. Got the cheesecake, the chocolate, and the thing. So thank you again for watching Desserts with David. Thank you again to the Village of South Rockwood for allowing us to use their community room kitchen. And we'll see you next time. Again, this is a layered turtle cheesecake. I just found the recipe online, so you can search online and find it. And enjoy.